What does it mean to be without a soul? Who are soulless beings? All beings who wear the human form do not possess the same essential qualities such as a soul, a capacity for love, an innate connection to the divine, and the possibility for moral evolution. This assumption, while comforting, is incomplete. It is not just flawed in theory, it is dangerous in practice and truth. There are individuals who appear entirely human but are internally empty. They lack a soul, not metaphorically but fundamentally. Their consciousness is not rooted in divine light. Their minds function but only a simulacra of true awareness. Their emotions imitate life but never generate life. Their purpose is not to grow or create, but to consume, mimic, and subvert. Such beings are not merely misguided or wounded, they are in essence voids wearing flesh. The soul is not merely the breath of life or the presence of thought, it is the center of moral consciousness, the source of empathy, the vessel of purpose, and the mirror of the divine. The soul gives depth to thought, weight to choices, and authenticity to emotions. It is the part of us that longs for truth, beauty, and meaning. A person with a soul wrestles with their conscience, seeks spiritual growth, and feels awe when witnessing something sacred. In contrast, a soulless person may display external intelligence and emotional mimicry, but lacks the internal fire that pushes one toward transcendence. A soulless human being may possess intelligence, humor, even charm, but there is no higher purpose guiding their existence. They do not have an internal moral compass because they are not tethered to a higher field of meaning. In metaphysical terms, they are not fallen souls, they are empty vessels. Their thoughts do not arise from true self-awareness. Their goals are driven by instinct, programming, or the imitation of others. They are placeholders for something that never arrived. The presence of such beings among us is not a new discovery in the esoteric text, the Pistopia we read of. Humans who were born without the light, existing only to serve their own lower desires and to ensnare those who carry true spirit within. In the Hindu tradition, there is mention of Asuras, beings who look human but act without divine impulse. Even the Christian scriptures warn of ties among the wheat, suggesting that some are not children of light but of darkness. These references are not metaphorical exaggerations but spiritual diagnostics from a modern psychological lens. We often categorize these individuals as narcissists, sociopaths, or people with antisocial personality disorder. However, the spiritual view goes further. Psychology deals with behavior and brain chemistry, but esotericism deals with essence and purpose. Not all who are mentally ill are soulless, and not all who appear. What are the main 9 signs and traits of a soulless human being? Successful and socially integrated, possess a soul. The difference lies not in appearance, but in energetic quality. One of the clearest signs is a persistent emotional vacuity. A soulless person rarely experiences authentic emotion. Their laughter lacks warmth and often feels forced or mechanical. When others share moments of joy or grief, they respond with detachment or confusion. They may imitate sadness or anger but never truly feel these emotions. Their emotional responses tend to be shallow, fleeting, and disconnected from genuine feeling. This emotional flatness is not temporary or situational, but consistent across contexts and relationships. A second critical sign is the absence of true empathy. Soulless beings cannot perceive or resonate with the feelings of others. They fail to respond to pain or happiness in a way that shows understanding. Instead, they might mirror expressions of concern superficially without the internal experience of compassion. This lack is not due to ignorance, but a deep incapacity to connect. When confronted with suffering, they either ignore it, minimize it, or exploit it for personal gain. Genuine care and altruistic action are foreign concepts to them. Self-reflection is a key feature of the soulful human being. Soulless individuals rarely engage in true introspection. They evade questions about their motives, feelings, or past behavior. Instead, they deflect, lie, or create distractions. Their self-image is fragile and constructed entirely from external validation. They do not grow from mistakes because they do not internalize experiences at the soul level. This lack of inner dialogue makes them rigid and reactive, unable to learn or evolve in meaningful ways. Manipulation is not simply a tactic, it is the default mode of interaction for the soulless. They consistently deceive others, not necessarily for material gain, but to maintain control over their environment and people. Their lies are intricate and often self-contradictory. They exploit trust without remorse and frequently gaslight victims to obscure reality. This chronic deception is a mask that attempts to conceal their inner emptiness. Unlike those who lie out of fear or insecurity, the soulless lie with ease and indifference. Relationships with soulless beings are fragile and one-sided. They maintain connections only as long as they serve their interests. Deep bonds of trust, loyalty, or love rarely develop. They treat people as tools or props, discarding them when no longer useful. Others often feel emotionally drained or confused after interactions. These beings do not experience genuine intimacy. Instead, their relationships are transactional, marked by exploitation rather than mutual growth. Soulless individuals cannot endure silence or stillness because these states reflect their inner void. When faced with quiet moments, they feel restless, anxious, or compelled to break the silence with noise or distraction. Their discomfort with stillness reveals their lack of inner peace and spiritual grounding. This restlessness leads to compulsive talking, excessive screen time, or substance use to fill the emptiness within. Their speech is often heavy with spiritual or moral language, but their energy betrays them. They speak of love, truth, and light, but their presence feels cold or hollow. This incongruity can confuse others, making it difficult to discern their true nature. Their language serves as camouflage, masking their lack of inner substance. Those attuned to vibrational cues sense this mismatch as a profound dissonance. Soulless beings frequently change their personal narratives, beliefs, or allegiances without clear reason. They adapt their persona to fit situations or to exploit social dynamics. These shifts are not signs of growth but of instability and opportunism. They lack a core self that remains consistent over time. This chameleon-like behavior disrupts trust and creates confusion in their social circles. One of the most common signs of a soulless person is emotional flatness. In key moments, when others cry, they may smirk. When someone shares deep pain, they may respond with impatience or cold detachment. In relationships, they often exhibit a disturbing pattern of emotional mimicry, in the beginning offering intense affection and attentiveness, only to gradually reveal manipulation, control, and emotional withdrawal. Once their target is bonded, their intimacy is not fueled by love, but by possession and power. This behavior is especially common in what psychologists call narcissistic abuse, but from a spiritual perspective, we may see it as energetic vampirism, a draining of vitality from a soulful person by someone who cannot generate their own light. Another characteristic is their inability to experience awe or wonder. They may watch a sunset, witness a birth, or hear beautiful music, and yet remain emotionally untouched. This is because the soul is the organ through the three main common signs of all soulless beings, which we experience: reverence, beauty, and sacredness. Without it, a person may appreciate things intellectually, but they cannot feel their essence. Their life lacks richness, and their sense of purpose is often purely material. They may pursue wealth, status, pleasure, or dominance, but never inner transformation. Their goals are horizontal, not vertical, reaching out into the world, but never upward toward the divine. Soulless individuals often speak in cliches and borrowed opinions. They rarely express original thought or deep contemplation. Instead, they echo what is popular, expected, or strategic. When challenged on deeper issues of morality, mortality, or existence, they deflect or become irritated. Their inner world is shallow, and they fear the exposure of that emptiness. This lack of depth is often hidden behind carefully constructed identities: the wise teacher, the successful leader, the spiritual guru. But these masks begin to crumble when they are confronted with real suffering, mystery, or intimacy. Another major sign is the absence of remorse. Even when confronted with the harm they have caused, they may deny it, rationalize it, or simply ignore it. If they apologize, the apology often feels mechanical, empty, or performative. They may mimic sorrow, but it is devoid of inner recognition. A soulful person, when faced with their own wrongdoing, feels the pain of the other. They repent not just to avoid consequences, but because their inner compass demands it. The soulless, however, are guided not by conscience but by expedience. They do what works, not what is right. There is also a disturbing pattern of confusion and exhaustion that surrounds the soulless. People who interact with them often report feeling drained, disoriented, or subtly invaded after conversations or relationships. This is not simply the result of difficult personalities, but the consequence of an energetic imbalance. The soulless do not generate light or energy from within, so they extract it from others through attention, emotion, or chaos. Some esoteric traditions refer to them as energy parasites, entities that feed off the soul's vitality. Because they have none of their own in group settings, they often exhibit a chameleon-like ability to blend in, adapting their persona to the values, language, and tone of the environment. This adaptive mimicry can make them hard to detect, especially in spiritual or how to recognize the soulless among us. Psychological communities where the appearance of depth is easy to simulate, they may use spiritual vocabulary, speaking of love, healing, or awakening, but their actions betray a lack of genuine transformation. They remain unchanged no matter how many retreats they attend or teachings they quote. They seek knowledge for control, not for liberation. Perhaps most hauntingly, there is often a deadness in their eyes. Many sensitive individuals have described looking into the eyes of a soulless person and seeing nothing there: no light, no reflection, no presence. The eyes, often called the windows of the soul, reveal absence as much as they reveal presence. When we look into the eyes of a truly soulful person, even one who is suffering, we can see life, pain, beauty, longing. In the eyes of the soulless, there is often a void, a flatness that feels colder than death. Soulless individuals drain energy not because they consciously choose to, but because they cannot generate it themselves. When a soulful person Enters a room, the atmosphere often brightens, others feel inspired, uplifted, or calmed. When a soulless individual enters, the opposite occurs. The air may feel heavy, people may become confused, tired, or irritable. This is not always dramatic. The effect is often subtle but persistent over time. They leave a trail of emotional exhaustion, broken trust, and depleted hope. This is because they unconsciously draw on the life force of others. Their presence becomes a siphon. Therapists who work with such individuals often report feeling unusually fatigued, emotionally numbed, or disoriented after sessions. Healers and empaths may feel physically ill in their presence, as if their energy field has been punctured. Recognition is not about judgment or paranoia, it is about discernment. To recognize the soulless is to protect your vitality, your spiritual clarity, and your sacred path. The first key is to feel, not analyze, not reason, but feel. The body and heart know what the mind cannot always explain. If someone consistently drains you, confuses you, or makes you doubt your intuition, pay attention. If their words sound spiritual, but their energy feels cold or empty, trust the feeling. Look for coherence. Do their actions align with their words? Do they show compassion when no one is watching? Can they sit in silence, or are they always performing? Another method of recognition is the stillness test. Sit quietly with them. Ask no questions. Speak no words. Let the silence grow. If they fidget, if they become agitated, if they attempt to fill the space with artificial emotion or nervous chatter, something is amiss. The soulless cannot rest in stillness because stillness reflects their inner absence. Silence is a mirror. The soulless hate mirrors that show them nothing. To protect yourself, you must fortify your own soul. This does not require superstition or fear, but clarity and alignment. Begin each day by grounding yourself in the energy of your own presence. Speak aloud your connection to the source. Use language that resonates with your belief system, but be firm. The soulless respect boundaries, not kindness. Set energetic boundaries, just as you would physical ones. Visualize a field of golden light around you. Carry talismans of resonance, not for magic, but for focus. Symbols like the Ankh, the Eye of Horus, or the cross are not just religious icons, they are energetic anchors. If you must interact with a soulless person, limit your vulnerability. Avoid sharing your dreams, your traumas, or your spiritual insights. They will not understand, and they may use them against you. Be kind, but not open. Be respectful, but not trusting. Most importantly, nourish your soul through beauty, prayer, meditation, and nature. The more vibrant your soul, the more resistant you are to their influence. Please share this video with whoever needs to see it.